Have you ever felt like you are quietly observing the world from behind a pane of glass, watching the frantic pace of modern life, while your own mind travels through entirely different galaxies of thought and emotion? In a society that often glorifies the loudest voices, the relentless pursuit of speed, and the superficial markers of success, there exists a rare group of individuals who walk a profoundly different path. They are the quiet visionaries, the old souls, the deep thinkers who find themselves navigating the noisy streets of the 21st century with a compass forged in ancient wisdom. In the realm of psychology, they are known as the rarest of all personality types, but beyond the clinical labels, they are simply the keepers of profound emotional depths. Today, we are going on a deeply reflective journey into the minds of these quiet observers. We will explore 6 powerful life philosophies that shape their existence, philosophies that are not merely abstract ideas, but the very air they breathe. Even if you do not identify with this specific label, you might just find a reflection of your own hidden depths in their quiet wisdom. The first philosophy that anchors the soul of these rare individuals is the profound belief in the ripple effect of kindness. In an era where cynicism is often mistaken for intelligence, these quiet souls view kindness not as a vulnerability, but as the ultimate form of quiet strength. They understand a fundamental truth that every single interaction, no matter how fleeting, carries a weight that echoes through the corridors of time. Imagine a small pebble dropped into a vast, perfectly still lake. The initial splash is small, almost unnoticeable, but the ripples expand outward, touching the distant shores. This is exactly how they view their daily interactions. A gentle smile given to an exhausted retail worker in a bustling American city, a patient ear offered to a grieving friend, or a silent moment of grace granted to a stranger on a crowded subway. These are not random occurrences. They are conscious, deliberate acts of rebellion against a world that often forgets how to care. They know that the exhausted worker they smiled at might go home and speak a little more softly to their child. That child might go to school the next day and show compassion to a lonely classmate. This invisible chain of human warmth is the true architecture of a better world. For these deep feelers, choosing kindness even in the face of hostility or profound misunderstanding is a deeply held moral obligation. It is their quiet way of healing the world one unseen moment at a time. They absorb the heavy emotional frequencies of the environments they walk into, and they actively choose to transmute that heavy energy into something lighter, something beautiful. This unwavering commitment to empathy is what makes their presence feel like a safe harbor in a relentless storm. The second guiding philosophy is the absolute uncompromising commitment to authenticity over approval. We live in a deeply interconnected digital age where the currency of human value is often measured in superficial metrics like followers and fleeting social validation. From a young age, society teaches us to mold ourselves, to fit into convenient boxes, to smile when we are expected to pursue careers that look impressive on paper, and to silence the eccentricities of our true nature. But for the rare introverted visionary living, a life that is merely a performance is a fate worse than failure. Being true to their inner core is not a luxury, it is a psychological necessity. They possess an internal radar that instantly detects anything synthetic, forced, or hollow. This pursuit of ultimate truth often requires them to walk a lonely road. It requires the immense courage to stand apart from the crowd, much like the great American writers and philosophers who sought solitude in nature to hear their own thoughts above the noise of the industrial age. These individuals will willingly reject comfortable illusions. They will walk away from lucrative careers if the work compromises their moral compass. They will distance themselves from popular social circles if the interactions lack substance and soul. While this refusal to conform can sometimes lead to periods of profound isolation, it is precisely this fiery commitment to their own truth that allows them to build a life of genuine integrity. They would rather sit alone in a quiet room with a clear conscience than be surrounded by 1,000 people who only love a mask. The third philosophy is deeply spiritual, yet entirely grounded in the reality of human existence. It is the overwhelming awareness of the interconnectedness of all things. Where most people see random events, coincidences, and isolated incidents, These deep thinkers perceive a vast, intricate tapestry. They intuitively feel the invisible threads that bind humanity, nature, time, and consequence together. This is not just poetic thinking, it is a profound cognitive lens through which they process every moment of their lives. When they stand on a busy street corner in Chicago or New York, they do not just see a crowd of nameless faces. They see a symphony of complex lives, each person carrying their own unwritten novels of heartbreak, triumph, childhood memories, and quiet fears. Because they see the world as a singular living organism, their decision-making process is deeply holistic. They cannot easily compartmentalize their actions. They understand that throwing away a piece of plastic, supporting a local farmer, adopting a rescue animal, or choosing the words they use in an argument all matter in the grand scheme of the universe. This hypersensitivity to connection makes them fiercely protective of the vulnerable and deeply committed to causes larger than themselves. They live with the constant humbling awareness that we are all walking each other home through the darkness, and that no one is truly separate from the whole. The fourth pillar of their worldview is the painful but beautiful philosophy of growth through adversity. Life is inherently difficult, and for those who feel everything deeply, the pain of existence can sometimes feel unbearable. They experience grief, betrayal, and loss with an intensity that can shatter their world. Yet they possess an extraordinary psychological alchemy. They do not view suffering as a meaningless punishment, but as a fierce, uncompromising teacher. Much like a deep cut that heals to form a stronger scar, they understand that adversity is the crucible in which profound wisdom is forged. They refuse to let bitterness make a home in their hearts. When life brings them to their knees, they retreat into the quiet sanctuaries of their minds to process, to mourn, and ultimately to learn. They ask themselves the hard questions. What is this pain trying to teach me? How can I use this brokenness to become more compassionate toward the brokenness of others? Every hardship is meticulously disassembled and transformed into a stepping stone toward a higher understanding of the human condition. This is why people are so naturally drawn to them in times of crisis. They offer a comforting presence that can only come from someone who has walked through the fire and emerged not with anger but with profound grace. The fifth philosophy is the relentless pursuit of purposeful living. For these individuals, simply existing, paying bills, accumulating material wealth, and waiting for the weekends is a tragic waste of a human life. They are driven by an existential hunger to find their true calling. They want their brief time on this earth to mean something, to leave the campsite a little better than they found it. This deep-seated need for purpose dictates the careers they choose, the art they consume, and the people they invite into their inner circle. They are the quiet visionaries who dream of educational reforms, the artists who paint the pain of a generation, and the gentle healers who work tirelessly behind the scenes without ever demanding applause. They are constantly engaged in an internal dialogue, auditing their own lives to ensure their daily habits align with their highest ideals. When they find themselves in situations that lack meaning, they feel a physical and spiritual exhaustion that drains their life force. But when they are aligned with their purpose, when they are writing, creating, helping, or healing, they possess an almost superhuman reservoir of energy. Their purposeful living is a quiet but radiant beacon that inadvertently inspires everyone around them to ask more of themselves, to look beyond the mundane, and to reach for something eternal. The final and perhaps the most complex philosophy is the delicate, breathtaking dance of balancing the inner and outer worlds. These rare souls are essentially citizens of two completely different dimensions. The first is their inner world, a vast, limitless galaxy of imagination, philosophical inquiry, vivid dreams, and profound emotional landscapes. This internal sanctuary is where they feel most at home. It is where they retreat to make sense of a chaotic, loud, and often overwhelming external reality. In the silence of their own minds, they are the architects of beautiful utopias, untangling the complexities of human nature and finding the clarity that the noisy world denies them. However, they possess a crucial realization that prevents them from simply disappearing into their daydreams. They know that a vision without execution is merely an illusion. They understand that the immense insights they gather in the quiet of their solitude are meant to be brought back into the light of the real world. They feel a heavy responsibility to engage with society, to drag their ideals out of the realm of thought and build them into tangible realities. This is their greatest challenge. The modern external world demands constant availability, aggressive networking, multitasking, and shallow interactions. All of these things are profoundly draining for someone who thrives on depth and meaning. So they spend their lives mastering the art of the tightrope walk. They learn to fiercely protect their boundaries, scheduling sacred hours of solitude to recharge their spiritual batteries. They learn to say no without guilt, so that when they finally say yes, they can give the absolute best of themselves to the world. They step out of their quiet caves to lead to love, to build, and to heal, and then they gently retreat back into the shadows to rest. This graceful rhythm of stepping in and stepping out is what allows them to remain authentic while making a massive impact on the world around them. It is a beautiful, exhausting, and heroic way to live. When we look at these 6 powerful philosophies, the commitment to kindness, the bravery of authenticity, the vision of interconnectedness, the alchemy of adversity, the drive for purpose, and the balance of 2 worlds, we begin to understand why these individuals are often referred to as the old souls of humanity. They carry a timeless wisdom that transcends the fleeting trends of modern culture. In a world that is spinning faster every day, they are the quiet anchors holding us steady. They remind us that there is incredible power in gentleness, that true success is measured by the peace in our hearts, and that the most profound revolutions often happen in the quietest rooms. Embracing these philosophies does not mean a life free of struggle. In fact, to care this deeply is to invite heartache. But it also guarantees a life of brilliant technicolor depth, a life rich with authentic love, profound meaning, and genuine connection. If you recognized yourself in these words, know that your quiet nature is not a flaw, it is a rare and necessary gift to a world that desperately needs your light. As we bring this time together to a close, I hope you found a moment of peace and reflection in these thoughts. May you continue to nurture your inner world while bravely sharing your gifts with the outer world. Thank you for walking this quiet path with us today, and may your journey forward be filled with gentle grace and deep purpose.